Hey, it's Kamilah Stevenson, and around here we talk wealth. And today I want to talk to you about something that's destroying people's finances, even when they think they're doing everything right. Something that's making people work harder while getting poorer. Something most people don't understand because nobody's taught them how this works. And I'm talking about inflation. And this is not about a headline or a political argument, or this isn't about a number that the government reports. But I'm talking about inflation as a real life wealth killer that affects every single dollar you earn, every hour you work, and every dream that you're trying to build. Because here is what you need to know. You cannot outwork inflation. You cannot save your way out of inflation, and you cannot ignore inflation and expect to build wealth. But if you understand how it works and you position yourself correctly, inflation can actually help you. It can push your assets higher. It can increase your net worth. It can give you leverage, yield, and optionality that labor alone will never give you. So today, I want to break this down in a way that makes sense to you with real numbers, real examples, and a wealth strategy that anybody can start. Now, I have to say this is not financial advice. This is education so you can make wise decisions and stop letting inflation drag you in a financial hole. Everything I say is just for educational purposes. Like and subscribe if you appreciate content that helps you think bigger, move smarter, and build real wealth. All right, so let's talk about what inflation is really doing to you. Now, most people hear the word inflation and think it means the government raised prices, but that's not what inflation is at all. Inflation simply means this. Your dollar is losing power. The same dollar you worked for last year now buys less. And let me give you some real life examples because numbers don't lie. When I was growing up, a Happy Meal was like $1.99. Today, you can easily pay $5 to $7 to $10, even $12, depending on where you live. I ordered one simple meal for my daughter, and it was 4 chicken tenders, fries, and a drink. And it came to over $40. Now, I did have it delivered, so you got a little bit of fees on top of that, but that is absolutely ridiculous. $40 used to get you a full restaurant meal for 2 people. A bag of groceries that was $100 now looks like a half a bag, a fourth of a bag. Then you got gas and utilities and rent and insurance and healthcare. Everything is creeping up month after month, year after year. And here's the part that hurts. Your paycheck isn't rising at the same speed. You're trying to outrun a treadmill that keeps speeding up, and most people don't even realize it's happening until they feel overwhelmed. This is why so many people feel like they're working harder than ever, but falling further behind. Inflation is not just about higher prices. It is a silent transfer of wealth from people who earn money to people who own assets. And if you don't own anything that appreciates, inflation will eat your income alive. So I'm here to tell you that working harder just won't save you. So let's get real for a moment about this. For most of your life, you were taught that the path to success was simple. Work hard, get a job, climb the ladder, make more money, and then everything is just going to miraculously fall into place. But that world does not exist anymore. And here's why. Because your labor can't outrun inflation. Prices are rising faster than wages. Opportunities are shrinking faster than skills can adapt. And we're entering an economy where the work you do is constantly being devalued by forces outside of your control. Let me give you some real reasons. Number one is you're competing with AI, and AI doesn't get tired. We're not talking about robots in the future. We're talking about right now. AI can analyze data faster, write reports faster, automate tasks faster, code faster, produce content faster, replace administrative roles, reduce the need for middle management. And companies are already using it to cut labor costs and increase productivity. You are now competing with technology that works 24/7 and asks for no benefits. They don't take a day off. This isn't to scare you. It's to shift the way you look at your future. Number two, wages are not keeping up with the cost of living, as stated. Rental prices are up, food is up, utility is up, insurance is up, childcare is up. Everything went up except your paycheck, probably. You can work overtime, you can work 2 jobs, you can grind yourself into exhaustion. But if inflation is running at 6 to 8% and your raise is 2%, you're going to fall behind even while working harder. I'm not saying this is your fault, but the system is not designed for your labor to win. Number 3 is Labor income has a ceiling, but asset income does not. You only have 24 hours in a day. You can't multiply your time and you can't duplicate yourself, but your assets, they can grow without you being present. They can compound while you're sleeping. They can appreciate during recessions. They can earn yield in down markets, and they can scale infinitely. And the wealthy know this. That's why the wealthy don't chase overtime. They chase ownership. Number 4, jobs are becoming temporary, but inflation is permanent. Companies are restructuring. Industries are shifting. AI is replacing entire departments. Your resume may not have the same power it did 10 years ago. Your degree may not guarantee anything in 15 years. But inflation is guaranteed. It has one job: to make your dollar worth less every year. So if you don't own anything that grows faster than inflation, you're going to feel that pressure more and more as time goes on. And then number 5, the old advice: just work harder, is completely outdated. I just have to be honest. This is the new truth. Work pays the bills. Assets build wealth. And until you shift from relying solely on your paycheck to building an asset base, you will always feel like you're running uphill with a backpack full of bricks. You don't need more hours. You need ownership. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. And if you want to be more educated on how to build assets the right way, make sure you look at the link in the description. Sign up for Stock Up University. It's going to give you wise, clear direction on how to build your assets and set you up for financial freedom. There's a special code in the description if you use my link. Now, let's talk about the real separation between people who stay stuck and people who build wealth in any economy. It comes down to one thing. Do you own anything that appreciates or not? Because inflation affects 2 groups of people completely different. Let me show you how. First of all, if you own no assets, inflation destroys you. So every year when the groceries and the rent and the healthcare and your money buys less and your saving loses value and your paycheck stretches thinner, inflation is punishing savers and it's punishing workers because your dollar can't keep up with the rising price. So no matter how disciplined you are and no matter how hard you work, again, if you own nothing, inflation is going to eat you alive. But if you do own assets, then inflation is going to make you richer. And this is the part that school never taught you. It's because when you own the assets, remember, you have the appreciation, the earning of yields, the gaining of value, compounding effects. Your assets can be borrowed against, they can be staked, they can generate cash flow. So inflation does not attack you. It actually pushes your net worth higher. Let me say this clearly. Inflation punishes income, but rewards ownership. That's why wealthy people never panic during inflation. They're not scared of prices going up because their assets also go up. Their real estate rises, their stocks rises, their crypto rises, especially utility projects. That's what I recommend. Their yield products increase, their rental prices rise with inflation, and their asset-backed loans become more valuable. So this is how they stay ahead because their money is working harder than they are. And then also, assets give you an advantage the average person never has. A person with no assets has one option when money gets tight: work more, or I can say one more: spend less. But a person with assets have many options. They can, again, borrow against their asset, receive yield, sell a portion without losing the whole base, leverage appreciation, offset inflation passively, reposition into new opportunities, use their asset as collateral. Look, ownership gives you options, and options are the difference between surviving and advancing. And then also remember this: labor income is capped, but asset income is limitless. If you're trading hours for dollars, there's a ceiling to how far you can go. But your assets, they don't sleep, they don't get tired, they don't ask for raises, they don't require 40 hours of work. They don't need motivation. As long as you're positioned in assets that appreciate over time, your wealth is going to grow even when you're not working. And that's the game wealthy people are playing, while most people are trying to outrun inflation with the same paycheck that's losing value. Now, I want you to understand that the next decade is going to create the biggest wealth gap we have ever seen. Why? Because the future belongs to people who own assets, people who understand inflation, people who position early, people who educate themselves, people who build a foundation, not just income. And listen, you don't become wealthy by working harder. You're going to become wealthy by owning more. So if you want more options, if you want more freedom and breathing room, you got to understand that appreciating assets is going to grow your wealth without the effort. Doesn't matter if you own stocks or ETF or maybe a rental property or utility driven crypto, whatever, your money is going to work when you aren't. And if an asset is appreciating, let's say if it's even 10% a year, it's quietly getting stronger behind the scenes. Meanwhile, a savings account is losing value in real terms because it doesn't keep up with inflation. And you really need something that's going to create protection during hard times, right? So if you only have a paycheck and your life collapses with a crisis hit, but you have assets, then again, you can sell, you can borrow, you can live off the yield temporarily, you can reposition where your money flows. You have other things that you can do. And then let me say this, because this is the part that makes life so good. All right. It's the experience of life that increases when you have assets because of the freedom in your future. You'll have freedom to reduce your work hours, to leave your job that you hate, to start a business, to travel, to rest when needed, to take care of your family, to give generously, to build generational wealth. Listen, you don't get free by working harder. You get free by letting your assets work for you. And the sooner you start accumulating those assets, the sooner your future starts expanding. You want to start to prioritize assets that historically outpace inflation. When your asset is growing faster than inflation, your purchasing power increases even when the cost of living rises. And that's how you stay ahead. So continue to educate yourself because literacy is the real wealth. You cannot build wealth if you don't understand money. So let me help you understand. Inflation isn't going anywhere. The cost of living isn't going down, and the world is not shifting back to the economy we grew up in. But it doesn't mean that you're powerless. It doesn't mean that you're stuck. And it doesn't mean that your future have to look like your past. It simply means this. If you want a different outcome, you need a different strategy. The people who will win in this next decade are not the ones who hustle the hardest or work the longest hours. It's the people who understand inflation, own appreciating assets, build financial literacy, take control of their retirement, move with awareness and position instead of panic. Inflation is only a threat to people who don't know how to respond. But when you know the game, inflation becomes a tool. Now, family, if you want guidance on this journey, if you want mindset, accountability, long-term structure, and a community of people who are building wealth together, that's exactly what my coaching membership is for. I'm upgrading the entire ecosystem for 2026 with new trainings, new tools, new strategies, because the season that we're entering into requires clarity and intelligence, not chaos and confusion. So if you want to join, the prices will be increasing next year. The link is in the description, so check it out. Listen, I want you to be intentional. I want you to be informed and pay attention to where your money is flowing. And as always, stay wise, stay wealthy, and I'll see you in the next video.